Live from the Buckeye Hall of Fame grills, the Spartans come to town to take on Ohio State.
Urban Meyer is going to be here, and Zeke Elliott is going to be here.
It's time for Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
What a terrific morning we are having here live in Columbus. Our endless thanks to the people of this great city who always make us feel so welcome here. We are presented by Progressive Insurance, our guests, as always, with their Subway Fresh Take. We've got hundreds of people outside in a tent that can't get in. But it's just such terrific that people are supporting us in this way. By the way, we'll have behind-the-scenes views of our trip to Columbus and a chance to win tickets to tomorrow's game, Ohio State and Michigan State. If you follow us on Instagram and Snapchat, at ESPN Mike and Mike, you'll get exclusive access that you don't get on TV. That's at ESPN Mike and Mike on Instagram and on Snapchat. Well, we've got a lot of good Buckeye stuff working here this morning. We got Chris Carter here with us. We got Urban Meyer coming, and joining us now on our set, this is the horse that they rode to a national championship a year ago. And they will look to do the same thing again this year, and just maybe he'll make a stop in New York for the Heisman Trophy along the way. Ohio State star running back Ezekiel Elliott is here. Great to see you, Zeke. Thank you for coming by.
Too. Thank you guys for having me. I got a little present for you guys. Got some Buckeye candies.
All right, very nice.
Fire that on down this way, my friend.
Look.
Thanks.
I took your T-shirt, so I'll take the bar.
Oh, was this for the other guys too, or just me? I'm not sure. I didn't.
I mean, if you want them all, you can keep them, brother.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Love that.
You have to understand, if you're bringing three, you have not brought enough for everybody.
You didn't bring extras.
No, those are mine. Thank you.
I want, of course, to let you talk to these players, but let me just start with this. I'll bring this up with your coach as well, and you've now had this experience. You know, there is an old adage that says it is harder to stay on top of the mountain than it is to get to the top of the mountain. So you've had the experience of climbing that mountain last year and winning a championship, and now through to this point of the season being a defending champ and all the things that go along with that. Which do you say is the harder road? Do you subscribe to that belief, or do you understand it, that maybe staying up there has different and more difficult challenges than getting there?
Staying there definitely has different and more hard challenges. Getting there is because, I mean, getting there, you got no one bothering you. Really last year, no one, I think, really believed in us early in the season after we lost, and we really could focus on just getting to the playoffs and winning that national championship, and going into the offseason with all the appearances we all made, you know, everyone having a superstar status, you know, just kind of getting back into the work ethic and kind of forgetting all that and kind of trying to remember what got us where we were at the end of the year last year was kind of hard, but I think Coach Moratti and Coach Meyer did a great job knocking us off our pedestal and getting us back to work.
Yeah, strength coaches have a way of doing that, don't they?
Yep.
They have a really, really good way of doing that. You know, so many opinions about your team this year. Still undefeated, but some question how you guys have been playing. Forgetting everybody else outside, what do you and your teammates think of your season so far?
We think that we've made strides every week. We don't think we're at where we need to be yet, but it's not the end of the season yet, so that doesn't really matter. All that matters is that we've been getting better every week, and we've been winning every week. And if we keep winning every week, we'll be happy at the end of the season.
Golick and I talked about the potential, a number of juniors, yourself being a junior. There's a great potential that this could be your last game in Ohio Stadium. How do you manage that emotion? And if it is your last game in Ohio State, I'm not trying to get an announcement or anything.
No.
Can we see the crop top? Can we see the crop jersey?
You know,
I'll pay the fine.
Yeah, you got that. You got that. That's the Elliott rule, isn't it?
Yeah.
I
want to see a crop top, and I want to see a spoon going to your mouth. That's when I know we're doing good. Right to the mouth. That's when I know we're doing good.
that's something we're going to have to hold up with the NCAA, honestly, because it seems like I'm the only one that the rules enforced on. Yeah. Honestly, if you want to be serious.
I watched Alabama. They had several guys with a crop.
There's plenty of players around the nation that are still able to wear it, but for some reason every week there seems to be a couple refs that come up to me before the game and make sure they tell me to pull it down. So, I mean, that's something we're going to have to hold up with the NCAA.
Yeah, my thought on that is if you got the abs, show them. As far as I'm concerned, I show them.
Another question for you. It's a little scary, but is there an extra gear that you guys can go to that you went to last year? It's scary knowing you have it because sometimes you try to go to it, but that's what the Buckeye fans and you as one of the leaders, can this team take that next step and that next step like 2014?
I think we can. We definitely can. We haven't played up to our potential, and that is scary. And I think you'll see that pretty soon.
What's the difference in your team in week 1, week 2, week 3 to now? What are the biggest differences offensively for you guys?
I think the run game is clicking at all cylinders like it should have been. I think the O-line had a slow start, but right now the run game is clicking at all cylinders. And I think the most important thing right now is just kind of getting that pass game going and with the pass protection and everything, just kind of getting everyone comfortable in the pass game and kind of stretching that field vertically so teams aren't able to stack the box the way they've been.
Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
And I know. Listen, I understand you're a team guy, and team is first, and everything about that. I get it. Do you feel a little bit like, I don't know if disrespect is the right word, that all the talk has been about Fournette and about Henry, and I know it's nothing you can control, but, you know, you're playing great. You guys are the top 3 rushers in the country. You also have 24 catches out of the backfield, which is a huge, huge plus. Do you feel like there's a little less on for you than those guys, and does that put a chip on your shoulder at all?
I do, and it does put a chip on my shoulder, but that's not my focus at all. I think at the end of the season they'll know what they need to know, and if I keep handling business every week, then the truth will reveal itself.
Ezekiel Elliott is here on our set. His Subway Fresh Take. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. I'm not saying this because you're sitting here. These guys know I've been saying it for 2 weeks now.
He has.
I believe that you are going to win the Heisman Trophy. I believe that the season begins now. And the attention, you are now going to play 3 hugely anticipated and highly watched games. The Michigan State game, then at Michigan, and then it would set up right now, if it works out that way, an unbeaten Iowa for the Big Ten championship. If that happens and this team rides you could do something that no Ohio State player has ever done, and that is win the Heisman and the national championship in the same season. So we'll see if it happens. Let me ask you this. Before the season began, and Chris, you know, is such a part of our show, we've talked a lot about this. It's a nice problem to have, but it's a problem nonetheless when you've got Braxton Miller and you've got Cardell and you've got Barrett. You've got 3 guys, and then, of course, it got easier with Braxton when he went to a different position. Every team in the country would love to have multiple great quarterbacks, but that doesn't mean it's easy. With the quarterback changes and things like that have gone on this year, what challenges have those presented for you as a player?
Just kind of a little bit of inconsistency in the offense and in the play calling. But, I mean, we got our guy now, and we're going to go with him.
Is it uncomfortable? Is it difficult when you got one guy playing and some people want the other guy to play? You as team leaders have to make sure everyone stays together either way. The coach is going to make the decision. Everyone understands that. Is that difficult to keep that together when things aren't necessarily going as well as you wanted on offense?
Not at all with our team. There's no friction in our locker room. We're all together. We're all for whoever's back there taking the snap is going to be loved by everybody, and we're all for the coach's decision. We're just going to do what the coaches tell us to do, honestly.
How's this week prepping? You're going up against, forgetting what's past this game because nothing matters until this, you got to take care of business on this game. Michigan State is a physical opponent. This is always a tough game from that respect. Put it on them a bit last year, but what's the prep been like for this week and for this team specifically?
The coaches have kind of pulled off on us physically just because they're such a physical. They have a physical 7, and it's going to be a physical game. So it always is. It's a big rivalry, and we're going to go out there and play hard.
A little bit off the field. You came from the state of Illinois. Your dad was a star at Missouri. Tremendous amount of pressure inside the state. Your experience as a Buckeye and taking that chance, because you went through a lot in making that decision, your overall experience with Urban and trusted him with your career.
As soon as I stepped on Ohio State campus, I knew it was a school. It's their energy. It's something that can't be rivaled. Like, you see all this around us. You're not going to get this anywhere else in the country. And I couldn't be more happy with my decision. Coach Meyer granted me everything he promised. And, we're going to keep working.
Talk a little bit about the relationship with your dad. Know you guys are close. Know he made a big move to come up here to support you. Talk about him and how he's meant in your overall development.
It's just been great. It's been so helpful having him here, just with all the struggles that a college student would have. It's so much easier with him right around the corner, just a call away. And, he's just made my transition into college so much easier, so much more smooth.
Until he's critical of your tape then, right? Does he watch tape still jump on you for a few things? Not that there's been a whole lot to jump on you about.
That's something different that you probably wouldn't know about my parents. Both of my parents being athletes.
Yes.
They never were the parents to even talk to me about my play. You know, they always let my coaches handle that. And, you know, whenever I get around them, it's not really about my play. It's about my life outside of sports. And I think that's something that my parents did a great job doing, and that's probably the reason why I love the sport so much.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that because there's so many kids out there, there's so many excuses, but to have your dad, I knew your dad and what the role that he played into your life. I just wanted you to be able to explain that to people because that's one of the special parts, I believe, in the Zeke story.
It is a big weekend here in Columbus, reminding you at sundown, this Sunday, 5 o'clock Eastern, the Columbus Crew take on the New York Red Bulls. It's the MLS Eastern Conference Championship Leg 1. That game's on ESPN. It's on ESPN Deportes, and it's on Watch ESPN, wrapping up a huge weekend here in Columbus. Quickly before we let you go, Zeke, and we very much appreciate it. We know it's obviously a very busy time for you. Tell us what it's like playing for Coach Meyer. Give us a little insight. CC knows him real well. Mike and I, we worked with him briefly. He was at ESPN briefly between Florida and here, but we didn't get to spend a lot of time around him. He has this enormous persona. Take us behind the scenes a little bit. What is it like playing for and knowing Urban Meyer?
He's a very intimate coach, and he's a very tough coach. He demands excellence from you at all times and everything you do, and that just brings out the best of you. That's why he's always so successful.
It's an interesting choice of words. What do you mean by intimate?
Intimate as in, you know, he makes sure when he comes into the facility, he goes around, he talks to all of his players. It's not like he's just a coach that's going to sit in his office that you got to, you know, make an appointment to go see. He's make sure he's around the facility, walking around, talking to everyone.
How do you guys have you handled and do you the rankings that come out every week? I mean, do you guys sit around and watch it? Do you watch the show when the rankings come out? And I guess, do you feel overall, as I asked you individually about with the other two running backs, do you feel you shouldn't be where you are in the rankings right now?
We do watch the rankings. We do as a team, you know, because it's right when we get out of practice, and we do pay attention to them. But, I mean, I think earlier in the season we knew why we weren't ranked number one. But I think I can speak for us all now that we think that we should be ranked number one because, I mean, we've been playing at a high level. And that we couldn't have said that at the beginning of the season, but now we're playing at a high level. But you know, that's something we can't control. We don't worry about things we can't control. All we do is worry about going out every Saturday, getting wins, and like I said, at the end of the season, everything will work itself out.
But I just want, I mean, at the end of the day, you guys you're young adults. You follow this stuff. Coaches always say, I don't look at that. I don't listen to that. I don't read that. You guys do. I mean, let's be honest. You guys are young players. You read about yourselves. You read about your teams, and you follow all that stuff, don't you? I mean, it just seems to be common sense that you guys do, correct?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. I figured you do. Maybe not as much as Urban would want you to do, but I think just the younger generation just does that.
But I think also they do that, but I think the climate's changed as far as the overall respect for the Big Ten. They know if they win the Big Ten, they're going to be in the playoffs. And last year proved out if they play well enough, they know they're going to get there. So I think it's a lot easier. Like, they'd like to be number one, but it's a lot easier knowing that if we win, we're going to be in it.
You're going to be in it. Yeah, you wanted a 4 standing.
Not only that, Mike and I have a disagreement about this. I believe if they beat Michigan State, Michigan, and Iowa, they will go in number one to the playoff. Golick doesn't think so. It doesn't make a huge difference, but it does make a difference. Because, Chris, as you said, the difference between being 1 and 2 is the difference between playing 3 or 4, and that can be a significant difference.
Well, I'm not going to have Ezekiel address this one, but I know how the team felt after the Alabama game.
Right.
I know what they went through physically to get ready for Oregon, and they weren't that healthy in the Oregon game. So when you play someone, just like if someone plays Ohio State in the semifinals, they're going to be wishing they were playing someone else. There's certain teams, and we see it in pro football, that you stay sore longer. And Bama is one of those types of teams. And I like them to be in the Orange Bowl because I'll be at the house and I can go right down.
I knew you'd like that. But that being said, I think Ohio State is one of those types of teams, and they obviously proved it, that can beat in Alabama, that has the versatility to do that. So to me, outside of the soreness factor, which I agree, I don't think it matters where you guys are ranked.
Well, before that, they got to beat Michigan State tomorrow, and we have to let this young man go. He's got things to do. But
we got class, man. We have class at Ohio State on Fridays. Student athletes.
And we have Urban coming by. We got a lot to do. Ezekiel Elliott, congratulations on a magnificent season.
Appreciate it, man.
And best of luck tomorrow. Thank you for doing this.
Hey, thank you for having me, and go Bucks.
All right, so I am frequently accused by Golick of kissing up to the crowd when we show up places.
You
right?
always
we go
do
here.
that, yeah.
So we're in Columbus. So I read a bunch of numbers on Ezekiel Elliott when he was here, and you accused me of doing that. What can I say? These are the numbers. So let me read you the numbers on our next guest.
Okay.
His coaching record is 152-26. His winning percentage is the highest of any major college coach whose career started after World War II. He is 48-3 at Ohio State, and he has 4 career win streaks of 20 games or more. No other major college football coach in history has more than 2. Those are the numbers. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Urban Meyer, the head coach of Ohio State. How are you, Coach?
Good. How are you guys?
That's a pretty nice resume.
I must say so myself. That's
Yeah.
a heck of an introduction.
Yeah.
You should hire me to just follow you
Yeah, and
around and
read
introduce
that,
you
huh?
everywhere you go. So I must say so myself. Let's just quickly on what this week is like. I'll let these guys ask you all the football questions about Michigan
First,
State.
he jumped on me for my blue shirt. This isn't the blue that you don't like. This is a lighter shade.
No,
so-
no, no.
Buckeyes around here,
no. We don't wear no blue. And if you were at the facility, if we were doing the show at the facility,
Yeah.
you would be forced to change.
Wait, this was kind of the blue of my high school. So how about that? I was just at my high school. Does
Doesn't
that work?
work.
No.
No.
all right,
No,
never
we're
mind.
still mad about that. Your high school, you and your brother went out of state, and
All
your
right.
2 sons went out of state.
I'm going to shut up now.
Yeah, let's move on. To
It's your
Urban.
show.
Mike and I and Chris and I were talking about it earlier, that at a place like this, you are accustomed to weeks like this. Mike and Mike is live on campus Friday. College Game Day is live on campus Saturday. Everyone is going crazy, and you have to make sure that your players don't worry about any of that and play a really good game tomorrow against the best team you will have faced this year. What is the secret to that? How do you make sure that doesn't
Well,
happen?
you're a little incorrect. It's not like this every week. This is a big week. This is Columbus, Ohio. Basically, look at this. This is it's insane. The game day's here. You guys are here, and I guess I'm one of those control freaks where you wish you could take your team on a desert island and shut them down. But this team's a little different. This team's very mature. They've been in big games together for the majority of them, and everybody says, how do you handle your team? Last year's team was different than this year's team. It all depends on really the leadership you have. And you met one of them. I was listening to him on the way in, Zeke. We have some really good players, really good kids that want to play their best.
Well, they seem to be, because Zeke, and I figured he would, because these are 18 to 22-year-olds. They read headlines. They watch the committee ranking show. They see all that stuff, but they seem to do a good job of putting it where it needs to be, compartmentalizing it when they need to. That's what this group is.
I hope we'll find out. This is there's a signs all throughout the facility that the most prepared team is going to win the game. You don't have to. If we're worried about motivating this team for this game, then we have a really bunch of bad players and bad coaches. It's about preparation, because this is a very good team, and it's about the team that's going to execute the best going to win that game.
Coach, once you get into the game, give us a few of the measurables that you as a coach will know that the team is on the right track, the game plan, the intensity, and everything that you want. Give us some of those things you're looking for that we as fans don't necessarily see.
It's always, in these kind of games, it's always line of scrimmage. It's like we played Alabama, you play Michigan State, you play these physical teams, and you feel it going backwards. That's a bad feeling. I've been in those. You feel it going the other way, and just you're hanging in there. And that's play calling might change a little bit. You won't be as risky. If the line of scrimmage is changing in your direction, we played Alabama a year ago, and we turned the ball over a little bit, but we controlled the line of scrimmage. And Michigan State 2 years ago in the championship game, we did not. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't going away. It's just I always watch how is it going up front, because this is one of the best defensive fronts we'll ever face. And our strength right now is defensive line and offensive line. So that's what I'm going to watch very closely. How are we handling the line of scrimmage?
Your defense really has been on the upswing, especially in the red zone, not allowing touchdowns in close games. Certainly that can be the difference. Do you get a feel for how your team may play in like warm-ups? Again, taking people where they can't go. When you're on the field walking around watching what you look for, can you kind of get a feel at all, or really is it nothing until the ball's kicked?
I get more of a feel on a Tuesday and Wednesday, on how they're preparing and how their focus is. And I'm fortunate to say we've had a very good week. I think a little bit, but I've been wrong before. I'm out there and said, "Oh, look at this! Now we're going to be ready to go." And we get slapped around, or you think, "Man, he's too much going on," and then all of a sudden you just control it. So this is all about the line of scrimmage in this game, and it's going to be key.
Where do you think your team is from the first 2 weeks of the season to right now?
night and day different. It's
What's the biggest difference?
Just confidence, chemistry. You know, I heard you guys talking about the quarterback situation. That has been a little bit, I don't want to say dysfunctional because you're 10-0. It's just been different. And but I just feel our defense is playing at a very, very high level. The coordination between the front seven, back seven, I'm very proud of that. They're very good players, but you don't see guys running clean and things that happen during the course of the game. So I'm very pleased with their defense, especially the way they developed over the last 5-6 weeks.
Expectations always very, very high. Coming into the season as defending champs, it seems like everyone's kind of lost that. You guys are the defending champs. How do you get young people to live up to the expectations, Coach? Because I've been with you, Bowling Green, Utah, Florida, everywhere you go, you have a ceiling that's very, very high. How do you get accomplished kids to still change their goals and maybe look outside of what they might be able to accomplish?
Well, one of my mentors and all of our friend, Lou Holtz, is one of the greatest of all time at handling big games. And as ironic, back when I was at Florida, we're playing Ohio State for the championship back in 06. You know, I'm a young guy. I've never been in this situation. I kept calling him, and he kept saying, you don't play the game until 8 o'clock on January 8th, whatever that date was. And so our key is that the most prepared team is going to win. You don't play this game until Saturday night, and you don't have to be the best. This is really key. And imagine being an 18, 19-year-old. You don't have to be the best team in the country, man. You just got to be the best team in that stadium. And what that does is synchronize. It takes your focus to the guy that you're going to be playing against, as opposed to, you know, you're talking to Zeke about Fournette. Zeke doesn't know Fournette. Zeke's got to worry about the A gap and B gap and pass protection, and that's the focus and I think this is a very focused team.
That's really interesting. Mike and Mike were presented by Progressive Insurance. Urban Meyer here with his Subway Fresh Take. If you could go back and talk to that coach that you were then when you were playing in your first championship game with everything you've accomplished and everything you know now, if you called you today, Urban Meyer of 2015, what advice do you think you would give you?
Lighten up, man.
Oh, well, yeah.
He knows back that whatever it was, 40-year-old or whatever it was back then.
Oh,
yeah.
The Oklahoma, the Ohio State.
You should have the handcuffs behind your back and, just out of control. I mean, it was a guy that just a much different guy, I guess a little more mature. I've been in a bunch of big games now, and it's about one thing. It's about a 19, 20-year-old having the right frame of mind, be hydrated, having the right nutrition, the right sleep, and when it says the ball moves, you know exactly where to go and how to go.
Just a reminder that Urban was CC's receivers coach all the way back at Ohio State, so that when he keep referring back to that relationship. But I do want to pick up on that thought for a minute, because it was well publicized when you left Florida, you came to ESPN, that you felt it was too much, that you were too intense and all of that. And you talked about how you were going to be different now. Do you think you are different? Are you different? And if so, how?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think the one thing, not during the season. During the season, it's an absolute grind. Chris knows in the off season. I mean, I shut it down now.
He's very different.
I pull the plug and I go spend time. I go to my son's games every Friday night that I was in town. I'd go on Wednesdays. I'm with my daughter, so I've taken time, and my assistant Amy knows, do not touch that time. And that's the time where in the past I had no time.
But I guess you said as the season is a grind. That's something because it's been tried at times to say, I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to be done at 5, or I'm going to go home and I'm
not going to happen.
You can't have right. I mean that's just, it's fool's gold to think that, right? I mean, if you're in the season, you're in the season.
Well, if that was I would have never got back in coaching. That's not the part that's your job.
Right.
But your job is not going to speak at 150 places in the off season and just, let your coaches coach. And in the off season is where it's a big difference. In season, you got a job to do.
Yeah, and we pay you enough money. You shouldn't be out peddling for pennies anyway.
It's called talking to the fans and the boosters and keeping them happy.
Hey, man, I know this guy.
CC.
Hey, now he's changed an awful lot. And the reason why I can say this, I was at the Oklahoma, Florida. I was at Ohio State and Florida. And also, I was on the sideline for the Oregon game.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, Coach, how do you feel? He said, I feel relaxed. I'm going to let the kids go. Now, they were getting ready to kick off, the opening kickoff. I was standing behind him, and I slapped him on the butt, said, let's go. Now, he turned around and saw it was me. Now, Urban Meyer, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago? No. So I definitely see a different coach now coaching the Buckeyes.
But, it's one of those things that if you told yourself years ago that years ago, coach still wouldn't have listened, right? You have to go through, don't you have to go through those experiences?
I think we all do.
Exactly.
I think you guys have gone through your journey. We've all had journeys, and extremely blessed to be able to come out. You know, I'm not saying the other end because that's not fair, because it was a great run, and you know, to say Bowling Green or Utah, Florida, incredible places, incredible runs. We did well. But you grow.
So you actually have a game tomorrow. You know, let's talk Michigan State, big game. So let's look at that game. What are you looking at when you're looking at Michigan State, saying what do they bring that can give you a concern?
Well, I think it was either CC or you, Mike, that were talking about when when you line up against an Alabama, you're a little sore for a little longer. This is a tough team we're getting ready to play, and their size on the defensive line is, I mean, big guys that play very physical. They blitz 60% of the time in their last game, so we're expecting a very physical game, and their quarterback's outstanding. You know, I really studied him this week. His release is so quick. He's a very courageous thrower. He throws in it, but he's the one of the few guys who can get it there because it comes out so fast.
He'll have a sore shoulder too, though.
That's what I heard. He'll be. I know one thing. He'll be 100% when he gets on the field.
That's exactly right. He'll be out there. Ain't no doubt about that.
CC, a final thought?
Coach, I'm so glad. We got the best damn band in Lead. We got the best football coach, too.
Thanks, Chris.
Congratulations on all your success, and looking forward to the future.
Thanks, CC.
Well, let me ask just one other thing, though, because I brought this up at the beginning of the show. You also have guys, and this gets lost in this game, you have guys that are playing their last game, the last home game. And that's an emotional thing. The tears flowed when I did it, when my kids did it as well, and you see it all the time. So that has to be put – how do you deal with that with those players? Because the emotion's fine after the game, but that has to be controlled before and during the game.
Well, I mean, there's senior days that are basically it's time for people to leave. You know, I don't want people to think, well, it's senior day. No, this is senior day because of what they've done. It's not senior day is not a rite of passage, because a lot of times – quite honestly, they're seniors. It's time for them to go. They've been here too long. They haven't done a whole lot. This group is at, I mean, it's the winningest group, probably one of the winningest groups ever to play the game. So, and not only that, you got the Josh Perrys and the Taylor Deckers and these Braxton Millers, incredible people. I mean, the Buckeye Nation is so proud of who they are, how they behave, how they take care of their business. They'll be successful people when they're done playing. So it's going to be a very emotional time in that stadium.
I will say this. As a final thought, I know why your off seasons now are a little more relaxed. I had the extraordinary privilege of playing Muirfield Village this summer. And as you are going up one of the holes, they'll point out that's Urban Meyer's house. And if you don't play golf every single day during the summer, then you have a lot more restraint than I do, because that's one of the genuinely gorgeous places in America. Not that bad, actually. I shot an 86, which for me is pretty good. And I actually saw, funny story. All right, what the heck, I'll tell you.
Tell it.
I'm sitting and I'm having breakfast before we're going out for our morning round. And our host is saying to me, we have a very strict cell phone policy here, so whatever you do, just put your phone away. And literally in that second, I look out the window and you're walking down the path, drinking a cup of coffee, talking on a phone. And I said to him, what's up? And he said, Coach Meyer doesn't really pay much attention to the cell phone policy.
We're recruiting, man.
Now, why would you tell that? Now
now he's going to get busted. You just outed him.
I said, look, it's got to be nice to be the football coach at Ohio State.
Well, the guy that happens to own the course is Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah.
So we make a little exception for the Buckeye coach.
Coach, great to see you. Best of luck. Thank you for doing this on a busy week. Urban Meyer, everybody. Great to have you. We'll come back. We'll look ahead to a big weekend, huge NFL games, and a whole lot more with CC. Right next, Mike and Mike.